Hey guys, RVA Bourbon here, back with a weekly tasting. I'm going to call this tasting the Box Wars. Usually do my tastings on Thursday nights, but I couldn't do it last night. Then I had a friend, Ray Clark, come by today and said, I'm waiting on your video. So here you go, Ray Clark. So there's some bourbons that come in these fancy boxes. Tonight we're tasting 4 of these. 2 of these I've had, but so Booker's is one. Nice box, has a little slide. Then the bourbon pops out for your bottle of bourbon. You know, just a unique touch on shipping bourbons. So my question is, are these box bourbons worth their price? Because each one of them is a little higher priced. Actually, all of these, I think all of these are $100, $100 bottles of bourbon. So Booker's tonight. Then you have Blood Oath, and its fancy box. I don't know if you see that. Just a unique touch on shipping it. Then we have Little Book, which is actually same distillery as Booker's. Little Book, Knob Creek. These 3 all come from the same distillery or distillers. And then Blood Oath is from a different one. So Little Book, and then I have a Knob Creek 15 that I picked up this week. It's a 15-year-old bourbon. Means it was in the barrel for 15 years. So should have a good smoky, rustic taste to it. I think the Knob Creek is 100 proof. Little Book was 112, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look at it and get my glasses. I want to say it's 112. Blood Oath, 98.6. Temperature of your blood. Blood Oath, 98.6 proof. And then Booker's, I want to say, is the highest proof. It's 126. Actually, Little Book is 122. I remember that now. So 126, 122. Knob Creek's 100. Blood Oath is 98.6. All right. So I'm going to just slide these out of the way. So I'm still doing a blind tasting of these 4. So I know what the 4 bourbons are, but I don't know which one is which, and we're going to see if they're worth their money for what you pay for these boxed bourbons. You can tell the proof is anytime you get that bourbon up over 100, you can start to smell that ethanol. Sometimes you want it to open up a little bit, let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes before you really go into it. It's got a good nose to it. A little cherry, like a corn. Almost, I smell like a candy corn, but it's got like a cherry candy corn. But you can smell that sweet corn in here for sure. A lot of up front, a lot of back, and a lot of down the center. Anytime you get these bourbons that are over 100 proof, one, if you got an 80 proof bourbon and you've got a 126 bourbon, that 80 proof is just watered down. So they just add more water to bring the proof down to make it easier drinking. But you lose some flavor with that. So when you got a 126 proof bourbon, you are really going to get a lot of flavor. To me, the bourbon gets a little thicker, a little syruppier, which again, if you think about it, that's going to give you a lot more flavor than kind of a watered down version. It's kind of like if you put bourbon on ice, those first 2 sips, you're going to get the full bourbon taste, but then after that it kind of mellows it out and it's just a smooth bourbon. So that was good. The number 1. Let's try this number 2. That first one had some ethanol, so when I smelt it, it had some ethanol. It's mellowing out a little bit, but I still smell some ethanol in that. This second one, not much ethanol at all. So they either did it right or it's going to be one of the lower proofs. It's definitely a lower proof. There's no burn, no finish at all. Very clean upfront taste. There's a lot of, for me, I call it a clean, almost like it's been in a steel barrel. It's just slick clean. And Wild Turkey products have this, what I call, and it's just me, slick clean taste, which it's not a bad taste. It's just it's not a full, reach down and in your heart and grab you. It's just clean, like a steel barrel, or like it's been in a steel bottle. It's just slick clean, I guess I would call it. It's a unique flavor on number 2. Not sure I extremely love it, but we'll try number 3. Also, if you're watching the video, I'll put this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It just helps the channel get a higher ranking so more people see it. So if you just do me a favor, jump out there, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Number 3. It's got a little bit of a musky smell to it. Not always bad when I say that. You hear me say leather, dirty carpet, musky. Almost like if you were in a mansion in a I think I've said it before, in Hugh Hefner's robe, smoking a cigar. This has that smell to it. I know people are saying, well, how's it got to be Hugh Hefner? It's just who I thought of off the top of my head. Again, another clean tasting whiskey, not as clean as that number 2. No burn, not a very little flavor. It's not bad. I'm just giving you it's not a bad whiskey. What is that smell? Charred piece of wood, you can really smell that barrel char in this. It's a little sweetness on it, not a lot of burn, Doesn't feel like it's a higher proof. Clean, good flavor up front. Does have that clean taste. That swallow had a little bit more of a squeeze down the middle. Happy burn, I would call it. All right. Number 4. Very little or no smell. A lot of nut, like a lot of. It tastes like. I mean, smells like almonds, peanuts at the fair. Almost like you're walking down a peanut hallway at the fair. It's just very nutty. This is a very nutty. It's strange. If y'all had smell-o-vision, you could smell this. It would smell just like almonds, cashews. You could just smell it. It's good. A little higher proof. Good taste in bourbon. As I developed my palate from drinking Buffalo Trace to, you know, some of the lower proof wild turkeys, the Long Branch, some of the lower 80 to 90, below 93, I have developed a taste now that I really want the 120s, the 115s, 120s, because it has so much more complex flavors in that than you get in a Buffalo Trace. Don't get me wrong, Buffalo Trace is an amazing bourbon and I love it. It's a great everyday bourbon. Not to say you can't drink a 126 proof every day, but I don't know if I'd advise it. Very nutty. This is a it's like you're roasting nuts in a pan. Even the taste is nutty. Just a very nutty bourbon. I must say it's either going to be the first or the second highest proof here. Number 1 is going to be, 1 and 4 are going to be that 2 high proofs for sure. Alright, I'm going to go back through 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to rank them up for you guys and tell you, do I feel like these are worth the money, and we'll see. I mean, you can write that down. You can write down walnuts. You can write down any nut you want. That's what that tastes like. That is. Smell that and see if you don't smell some. You might not, but to me it does. Like a walnut. Almonds, yeah, smells just like it. Really, I mean, it's just really cool when you get a distinct flavor in one, and in your mind, you know when you reach for it the next time, or you got a taste for something, you're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have some just nutty bourbon or some smoky bourbon. Yeah, I mean, just, man. so much flavor up front there. A lot in the back of the throat, and a nice long. That's I like that. That's a it's an A or B lister, as I would call it. That's worth a bottle at $100. Oh, now see, sometimes when you leave these sitting out, they get a little sweeter. They get less alcohol-y and a little sweeter. So this is number 3. Again, that very clean taste. I mean, if you're sitting here with me and you're tasting it, and I described it to you, you would say, oh, I get that. You know, there's just no, it doesn't fill your mouth with flavor. It is almost like, I don't know how to explain it really. There's just not a ton of oak flavor or sweet flavor. It's real clean. It just goes down clean. Has a great smell to it. A little more burn on the end of that little bit that I drank. It's good. I like it. Number 3, which in my mind, that was number 3. Number 2, which was in my mind, not the best one of these 4. Let's see if opening it up changed my mind. Not a lot of smell. A little bit of corn. I smell that corn again. People are like, what does corn smell like? Well, when you smell this bourbon, you'll smell that corn. Like if I say to you, do you smell that? In your mind, you're like looking for that smell, and then you'll smell it. It's there. Clean. Too clean. Not a ton of flavor. I'm getting, because I've drank a little bit now, I'm starting to get more burn, but I think it's just my palate and my throat getting used to this, but I shake my head. In my mind, first going around, this was not the best bourbon. It's not the best bourbon. But a lot of times, even my 4th place bourbon, if you patch it up against 4 others, but these should be fairly equal. These are, when they put these bourbons in a box and you sell them for $100 a piece, you should be getting some good stuff. And this one, to me, does not live up to what it's supposed to be. So I'll be interested to see what that number 2 is. I think I know what it is. I think it's at Blood Oath, but we'll see. All right, the first one, which I thought was very good. Corn smell, cherry smell. Yep. That's good stuff right there. Of these four, that's some good stuff. That's a foolproof bourbon right there. Foolproof bourbon. Oh, all kinds of flavors. All kinds of flavors in the back of your throat, down in your chest. That is a full proof bourbon. I'm gonna even once I rank these, I'm gonna guess at what these are. I think I'll have a pretty good idea. To me, because of the taste and the full taste. Wow, this one right here. Yeah, that's it. So number one is actually going to be my first place. Number four, which I said was, I think it's Sister. And it'll be interesting to see that if I'm correct. So anyway, we will go with my last place. Let me get a little water, and I'm sorry if I didn't look into the camera. So we're going to go with my last place, which was number two. I felt like it was clean. So number 2 and 3 were clean. But number 2 was too clean, not enough taste. Before I even turn this over, I'm gonna take a guess. I know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's either Blood Oath or Knob Creek. But I'm gonna say number 2 is Blood Oath Pack 6. And I am absolutely correct. So, is Blood Oath Pack 6 worth $100 for the pretty box? It's worth to taste it somewhere. It's a really nice look, but the bourbon in this box and this bottle is not worth $100 to me. I have actually tasted this one before, and it did not do well in the tasting for me, and it did not do well tonight. So, would I pay $100 for Blood Oath? No. Are they going to call me tomorrow and say, why'd you say that about our bourbon? I'm like, send me another one, and I'll test that one for you. And send me a shirt so I can promote your company, and then I'll taste it, and I still wouldn't lie to my viewers. I would say, no, that sucks. And it didn't suck. It doesn't suck. It's just not worth $100. This $100 pretty box, pretty story, not worth $100. Worth about $30. $30. So when they hear that, they can call me and we'll argue about it. So that was my last place, which is 4th place. 3rd place, I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say this is Knob Creek. The reason I'm going to say it's Knob Creek is, one, it's only 100 proof. It's Knob Creek 15. So this is a 15-year-old bourbon. You don't get a whole lot of those 15-year-old bourbons. There's a lot of 14s, 12s, 10s. Once they get over 14, you're doing a little something. You know, it deserves a box at 15 years old. But we'll see if I'm correct, if this actually deserves, what does that say? Knob Creek. So, does Knob Creek 15, is that a, I can't actually, that might have been $79 or $80 bottle, maybe. I could be wrong, but higher priced bourbon because of the pretty box, and it's been aging in some warehouse for 15 years. So I mean, you waited 15 years for it. You probably should have waited a couple more. Not extremely bad, but not worth it to me. All right, my runner-up tonight, and it's actually these two are identical. One's just a little higher proof. So Booker's. This is Boston batch, so some people who drink a lot of bourbon will know. This is Boston batch. It's a 2020 02 release is Boston batch. I think the 01 was called Beaten Biscuits, I think. And they said that was really good too. That's a 126 proof. This was a 122 proof. They call it Little Book. I think this is this Road Home? No, this is Lessons Honored is what they call it. The release earlier, I think this year, was called Little Book, The Road Home. But this is called Lessons Honored. But both of these, in my opinion, are worth the money. For the novelty of it, of having it in a box. I mean, you know, if you're going to put it in a box and you're going to do all this, you know, make sure the bourbon that's in the bottle is worth it. In my opinion, these two are worth it. The Blood Oath and Knob Creek, for whatever reason. And Knob Creek is the same. I mean, Freddie No, you know, he's Booker's and he is Little Book, and Knob Creek comes out of the same, you know, distillery, same everything, but for whatever reason, I'm just not a big Knob Creek fan. It's just, I don't know. So, my third place is going to be, I'm going to say it was Little Book, but it's not. It's actually Booker's. All right, so my third place is actually the higher proof, which is Booker's. I'm a little shocked because that actually won a tasting, one of my tastings when I originally got this. So hats off to it. Great bourbon. I would recommend Booker's. To me, I think it's really a good bourbon. And number one is actually Little Book, which I just got this week. It won this tasting, so if you can get it and you're willing to pay upwards of 80 to 90 bucks, I can't remember what Little Book was, I want to say 80 or 90 bucks for a bottle of bourbon. In my opinion, both of those are worth it. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, hit that subscribe button. If there's something you want to see, you can actually put comments in the YouTube, you know, comments, and if there's something else you're looking for, I think later this weekend I might do a rye bourbon tasting. But I appreciate you watching, and y'all have a great Labor Day weekend. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you.